Welcome to the HIV podcast. Each week we focus on a person, historical event or pop culture moment linked to HIV and explore the story of what actually happened. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Jess, and between us we've been working in the field of HIV for 40 years. Our aim is to get as many people as possible HIV educated.
Maskati akanaka tinokuchingamidzai mugrupu re-HIV podcast.
That was a lovely introduction. I think I know who that was.
I think you do know who that was. And can you guess? Well, if you know who it was, you don't need to guess what the language is, do you? But do you want to tell everyone what language that was in that doesn't know?
That was Shona.
Yes, it was. And that was one of our lovely service users, Sarah.
She's got a great voice. Absolutely phenomenal voice.
Such a lovely voice. And also he wanted to explain to me that what he was saying there was he's welcoming everyone. He's greeting everyone and welcoming everyone into the HIV podcast. I'm loving these intros.
So am I. Everyone's getting involved. I like it.
Very good.
We've got no way, can I just say, of knowing that he did actually say that, though. If we've offended anyone, I'm so sorry.
I'm relying on the fact that he's not pranking us.
That is a flaw in this whole little segment. But, you know, we trust in people.
Yeah, we're just going to have to ride it out and see what happens. Hopefully no complaints. In other news, and I can't play this because actually I don't know if I'm allowed to because it's from a TV show, but I recorded something from Love Island All Stars. Now, Sarah doesn't watch Love Island All Stars, which is a travesty. I can't quite believe she doesn't. I, on the other hand, love it. Anyway, what does that have to do with this podcast? I was watching it and there's a guy in it called Casey. And he was chatting with Kaz, and he said that his biggest fear was a snake coming up through the toilet and biting his penis.
Oh.
Do you remember a few episodes ago where you had said no one's scared of that? And I said, I think a lot of people are. Then we got a ton of messages saying people definitely were. Now it's on Love Island.
Oh, maybe we should set up a support group for these people.
And but where does it come from? Why do we all have this fear, and why don't you?
I don't know either. This is why I don't think this is why I know I can't understand it. I've never seen any reports of snakes coming up toilets in the UK.
I might try and look for some now. Actually, I'd never sleep again, would I?
No, let's not. No, let's just move on.
No, yes, let's move on. Well, welcome to HIV Testing Week.
Oh, it is. Oh, before we start proper, I should say thank you, everybody, for the lovely birthday messages. All over with now. Managed to string my birthday out for a whole weekend.
You didn't see the story I put up for you, did you, with the awful happy birthday music? Going to play it for you now, Sarah. Oh, anyway, she can't hear it, but I tried to play it to her. It was a hideous rendition of Happy Birthday, like a remix.
Right, okay. Firstly, not my favourite song.
You know, the lady dogs protest too much. Anyway, yes, you have a lovely birthday.
And secondly, we're all done for another year, so we don't need to talk about it. It's your birthday next.
It is, and it's on a Friday as well.
Perfect. Might get a little choir together.
Yeah? Are you going to enroll Charlotte Leach?
Well, I could do. I don't know how busy she is on a Friday or any other day.
I suppose so. That made it sound like we know how busy our other listeners are. I don't know.
But yes, if you want to be leached, absolutely.
If you want to be leached. She has so many catchphrases to her name. It's amazing.
Oh, it's an amazing name.
It's a good name.
It really is.
Can I ask why you have
a
poo behind you?
Well, because last week, without any consultation, you announced that you'd got a mascot. And I was like, oh, sorry, I thought we discussed everything for the podcast content. So I've got my own mascot this week.
Oh, okay.
Pedro Poo.
Pedro Poo. That's what you're calling it.
I'm going to say in honour of Pedro Zamora, but that's not really an honour, is it?
No.
Maybe Peter Poo. Paul Poo.
Why are they all men? What about Pauline or Petunia?
Oh.
Penny?
Yes, you're right.
Penny Poo?
I actually think it's genderless.
Yeah.
I think poos are genderless.
And just to explain, it's not a real poo. It's one of the, it's a plushie. It's like it looks like the emoji of poo. And
it's not an actor. Can you imagine that?
Sarah's lost the plot of it and she's just been smearing feces all over the wall behind her.
No, putting the CCTV wire to good use. We've not had to use it for quite a while, but I'm bringing it back.
Fraser, that's probably another little reminder to you to hide the CCTV wire. Yeah,
absolutely,
I don't blame you.
Given up asking. What's the point?
Yeah, it doesn't happen, does it? Call them
No.
out on a podcast and it still doesn't happen.
I know. I don't know what lengths I have to go to.
But yes, okay. Well, what are we up to this week? What are we doing?
What are we doing this week? Hold on a second while I consult my notes. Oh, yeah, that's right. I don't have any content for this week because it was my post-birthday week.
When it's been your birthday, you just don't do any work. You're like, post-birthday week, clear the schedule.
Yeah, I don't think Sean's going to be too happy about that.
That's really not why she doesn't have any content.
No.
But
No, come on. Creating content is one of my favourite things to do. But this week we are going to do things a little bit differently because we're going to talk about HIV testing week. I'm going to do my very best to keep us on track and on topic. And you, my little podcast friend, are going to share all you know about HIV testing week.
Oh, this is terrifying. Imagine if
it's
I don't
not
really
terrifying. I can't do it. I'm strategy, blue sky thinking outside the box. That's me. You, manual labour, making it happen.
Okay, I'm the skivvy.
But when it comes to testing week,
yes.
You're behind our testing week successes. You are the one that makes it happen.
Let's do this. I'm on board.
Okay, then. So what I thought we would do then is, because we wang on about testing week, don't we? And I think we forget that not everybody probably not realises, but knows what it is and why we do it.
Yeah.
So I thought now's a perfect opportunity. We can share that, bring everyone up to speed. And then next year we can say, just refer back to last year's episode. And I've got another week when I don't have to provide any content. Well, yeah.
Perfect. I like it. You're planning ahead, Sarah. You're working smarter, not harder.
There we go.
Very good. Well, would you like me to tell everyone?
Well, I will try and lead the way. This is just going to be absolute car crash podcast episoding.
I feel like I'm going to get very serious.
Oh, I'll enjoy that.
Let's see if it happens.
Okay. So National HIV Testing Week is this week. Let's start with why we have a National Testing Week.
Yeah. Do you mean you're leading the way without you want me to answer that?
Yep. Okay, let's start with that.
Okay. So obviously we listened to, I forgot to tell you, we got a new country, 176 countries around the world.
I always ask which one, and you always go, I don't know.
I swear this one's Gibraltar, but I don't know.
That's a tiny country.
Wouldn't put my money on it, but I think it's Gibraltar. So welcome if it is you, Gibraltar. If it's not, thanks for just being here.
Right, okay. So I said I'd do our best to keep us on track. Literally just asked you what testing week is, and we're now talking about Gibraltar. Start again, shall we?
Wow, that is... Okay, so where I was going with that was going to be on track. I've just got a bit of a butterfly brain, as we know.
Butterfried? What's butterfly?
I was trying to push past that.
Oh, no.
How the tables have turned.
I'm thinking you meant butterfly, but what it sounded like was butterfried.
Yes.
That's okay. We all make mistakes.
Oh, no, this is like the opposite way around. This is horrible. Okay, so the reason I was mentioning it is because it's National Testing Week. So this is just obviously here in the UK that we have testing week. I'm sure there are other testing weeks around the world. I know there's a European testing week twice a year.
Do they do it twice a year?
Yeah, I was just thinking. Yeah, so they do one in, it's either April or May, and then they do one in November. But then it wouldn't be European Testing Week, would it? It would be weeks.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So we do it once a year, right?
Well, we also get involved in European, so we actually end up doing 3 testing weeks throughout the year. So National HIV Testing Week is funded through HIV Prevention England, and it's a campaign to promote regular testing in England. Regular testing helps to reduce the number of people living with undiagnosed HIV and helps prevent people being diagnosed late with HIV. So in a nutshell, that is HIV Test Week.
Okay, so it's all about encouraging people to test. And actually, there's lots of ways they can do that, isn't there? Postal testing and face-to-face testing and home testing.
Yeah. So there are and I know we're actually going to revisit our Testing Ways episode later in the year because, it's good to just keep coming back to that. There's new tests on the market. There's new things to show people. As you say, so throughout testing week, you can go onto the It Starts With Me website and they have lots of little quizzes about if you should test and things like that, which are really, really useful. And it also takes you through to a link where you can order a free postal HIV test. You can also buy a home test. Places like Amazon, Superdrug, Boots, they sell home tests, and there's quite a variety now. Obviously, you've got testing at a clinic. You can also order free postal tests through sexual health clinics. And then you have community testing like we also offer. So there are tons and tons of ways to test.
Okay, so really, we're just reminding the public that they should be tested because there are so many campaigns these days, aren't there?
I do think that's the difficulty, that there are so many different campaigns. Ironically, we just highlighted this, Sarah, by chatting about, when's European Test Week, or when there's 2 a year, and then there's this one, then we've got Sexual Health Week. And and we are just talking about within our own sector. So imagine, how many other days there are. Then you've got sort of mental health awareness days, and it just goes on and on and on, doesn't it? So this is a concentrated campaign to really increase the uptake of HIV testing.
Okay, and in different areas of the UK, presumably people promote it in different ways, because we're not given like a kind of structured brief as to you must advertise in your local press or you must put posts on Facebook. It's open to interpretation, I guess, so that because we know what works well for our audience.
Exactly. And so what Sarah's talking about is, so we get a bit of funding, don't we? Because we are a local activation partner of the whole It Starts With Me testing week. So we are funded to put on services, to provide testing, to highlight testing, to really get it out there to public. But I actually think you're totally correct. It shouldn't be too structured in telling people what to do, because we all have different communities. You might have someone who's in a city and then someone else who's rural. Two completely different things are going to work in those situations, aren't they? So you do sort of, to a point, you do need to leave people to do what they like. We do get a campaign briefing, and we also have the opportunity. People have probably seen posters around saying I test. So we have like posters, leaflets. So we can order all of those to share throughout the community. So there's continuity in how the campaign looks.
Yes. So there's a theme.
Yeah.
But how you promote that locally is up to you.
So the theme this year, as I mentioned briefly, is I test. And so I'm just going to read a bit, actually. I'm just going to be honest. I'm going to read a bit off the campaign briefing, Sarah.
Oh, yeah, do it.
Yeah, so it said the I Test campaign was introduced for the first time during National HIV Testing Week 2023. It says, I Test builds on the concept of the National HIV Prevention Programme's umbrella campaign, It Starts With Me, by positioning testing as something normal, desirable, and that we can all take personal responsibility for, which is great. I just preferred Give HIV the Finger.
Oh, I loved that with the big foam thing. We got a really good response, actually, that year, didn't we?
A great
Everyone
response.
Loves a foam finger.
Well, I just think it's clever as well, because so the whole campaign was around obviously giving it the finger by having a finger prick test, but also giving someone the finger is swearing at them, isn't it? So I just thought it was an extremely clever campaign all round. And I think the issue with I Test is what? Are we talking COVID? Are we talking, I don't know, just general STIs? It just says I Test.
Okay, so they're saying, aren't they, that they're building on the campaign from the previous year, which was It Starts With Me. Is that right?
No. So I
the umbrella campaign.
Yeah, the umbrella campaign is It Starts With Me. But again, that doesn't actually mention HIV, does it?
No, and I think I might be wrong. You probably know far more about this than me, but in Slough in particular, where we have quite a transient community, we have to keep pushing out messages about HIV testing because you've got new people coming into the area and some people leaving the area. You can't start with like a base campaign and build on it because you're not targeting the same people.
Yeah, it has to be Ronseal. It absolutely has to be Ronseal, which for anyone that doesn't know or didn't grow up in the UK in the 80s, I imagine, what it means is it needs to do exactly what it says on the tin. So it needs to be so obvious, which is, I think we've talked about this before, ironically, why we changed the name of the podcast, because we suddenly realised, no, we just need to be really clear about what we're doing. That's, like you're saying, that's what this needs. It can't rely on people's prior knowledge of a campaign for it to grow.
They don't have any.
I mean, if it said I test for HIV, I would like that.
Yeah, that would make sense, wouldn't it? Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. But one of the
Oh my God, I'm stopping you. I'm butting in right now. Everyone, I've cracked it. I think I'm a genius. Do you know what they could do? They could have the initial. I love how you're already like, oh no. You could have the initials HIV and then the I in V is a different colour. So it still says I test, but it says HIV test, right?
Oh, I quite like that.
Honestly, let's just go home, Sarah. I think I
am home.
So no, me too, but you know what I mean? I feel like in the podcast, we're done. I'm spent. Isn't that a good idea?
Oh, that is a good idea. Well, submit it to
HIV Prevention England. Yeah.
There you go. That's what we can do next year.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's THT, isn't it? Because so THT manage the whole National HIV Testing Week campaign.
So can we customise our sweatshirts that we got with an H and a T?
Should we do it?
They might not like us messing with their merch.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But maybe that's a campaign that I might put.
I would do it in like a hot pink. Yeah. And then they've got the luminous kind of yellow on the navy. Yeah, let's just do it.
Wouldn't that look great? It still says I test, but it says HIV test.
We can buy iron-on transfer letters.
Oh my God, this poor THT are going to be like, why would you do that to our sweatshirt?
Yeah, stop taking our campaign.
We're elevating it. We're elevating it.
I don't think they'd agree. Someone has spent a long time thinking about how this could be good for this year, and we're going, no. What you want to do is get some transfer letters and whack it on your hoodie.
Yeah, they might not love that, but I get what they're saying with the whole, building on a campaign. But I just think it's prudent to recognise what you're saying. We can't rely on this prior knowledge thing. And we keep saying that within this sector. We have to move away from relying on people having a base level of knowledge.
Yeah, I think you're right. And testing week, we've always found, haven't we, that testing week itself is a bit hit and miss. But the week after testing week, everyone goes nuts wanting to test.
We always brace ourselves for, we clear sessions so that we can have, all the staff available to do all the testing. And obviously we do have, test inquiries, and we do perform lots of tests, but not quite at the level I think that we always expect. But then, I think the reason we have such an influx the week after testing week is because people, as we know, will say to us, I saw an advert once, twice, 3 times, and then I came to see you. People need to see that advert more than once, because we hear it a lot when they say, it's a sign. I kept seeing it. It was meant for me. And you're like, I mean, it wasn't. I just boosted a Facebook ad, mate.
Oh, but I love it that they think they've been personally targeted.
I know. It is quite amazing that people think that, like, it was a sign. Like, it's just advertising.
I reckon that's true of any kind of test or screening. Maybe that's just me. I have to be prompted a couple of times before I'm like, oh, fine, all right, we'll do this.
I think it's true of shopping. How many times do you see an ad on, say, like Instagram or something like that, where you'll scroll past it the first time, maybe you'll hover the second time? For me, I'd say it's even like 6 times by the, to make me go, and I'm like, oh, all right, have a look at that. Yeah. Like, you need to see that repetition. It's not good enough to just see it once.
Yeah, you're right. That's why I think it always carries on into the next week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, it does, because it's the same with Reading Pride, isn't it? When we're kind of promoting testing, and then the following week, you'll get lots and lots of inquiries. So really, our testing week is testing fortnight.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. And we should also say, I think sometimes things can come out in the press that sort of sideline events. And we have had that happen before. And obviously this week we had the news on Monday about King Charles. I can't say King Charles without just wanting to constantly say King Charles Spaniel. Do you know what I mean? It feels so alien, Sarah. But anyway.
That's your MBE wrecked, isn't it?
So we had the news about King Charles. And I think naturally that pushes some of the other news around things like testing week away. So, also can be like not noticed at the start of the week. So then throughout the rest of the week, it will feature in the media more. And then we get that influx the week after.
Oh, it kind of gets eclipsed by other news. That's a massive challenge, isn't it? I mean, how on earth that's a risk you take by picking a week for a campaign. But I wonder why they chose February, though. Is it because there are less campaigns at this time of year?
I mean, maybe. So before it was in November, wasn't it?
Oh, in the run up to World AIDS Day. Oh, God, what a horrific time that was.
Yeah.
Just so much going on. Too much.
Yeah, far too much, I would say. I mean, I'm sure there must be a reason why it's in February. I actually don't know what that is. Maybe THG can reach out and tell us. I'm not sure. Or I might have a little Google, see if I can find it. But it is an odd time because I think you have the people who want to look at their health in January, and we've sort of lost them by February.
I find it fascinating when you look at the kind of the peaks of when people test with us throughout the year. Definitely January, had a great Christmas, realised in January, didn't use protection.
Yeah.
And it builds up all around all bank holidays, I would say, because
yes,
I don't know, Jess, because I'm not young anymore, but I think young people in particular, those are the times when you're going to have your best nights out, aren't they?
I suppose having nights out, holidays, is February.
Yeah. Always busier in summer.
Yeah.
In the kind of like in the holiday season, definitely. I would say it drops it definitely drops coming up to Christmas because who wants to test at that time of year?
Well, exactly. Do you know when actually I think would be quite a nice time? And I know it would sit alongside another week, but say if it came either before or after Sexual Health Week. So I think September's a great time. Everyone's had their summer holidays. People are still wanting to test. You've got, another week of sexual health awareness to lock it onto. So you're almost making the most of all of that thing. I mean, it sounds like what we're doing is just really just slating testing week, which we're not, by the way, just giving our honest thoughts.
No, we're not. It definitely needs to happen.
Absolutely.
Because without it, you've got no national campaign at all. And it's really important that people are aware of testing for HIV and testing early in particular, but getting people to take notice and to act on it, I think, is a massive challenge for everyone, not just for us.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I don't know if we talked about it on here, but we were definitely talking about it in the office yesterday. There are so many campaigns, and not just within sexual health. There are just so many constantly. And I think someone else had said during this week, it was another awareness week, which doesn't surprise me. So you almost got these doubling ups of awareness weeks.
Yes, because there are now so many, aren't there?
Yeah.
But I think it helps, what are we striving for? To normalise HIV. And this absolutely helps with that.
I mean, it does. But again, I just want it to say HIV in any of the, because at least give HIV the finger said HIV.
I think you're right. One of the things I was going to raise was around the Britishness around sexual health and the shame of going to the sexual health clinic. We hear it all the time when people come to test with us, that they don't want to be seen at the sexual health clinic or have any association at all. I don't know if that's a British trait or a worldwide trait. But I do think you're right. If we're going to normalise this and make it kind of commonplace, or as commonplace as looking after your physical health or your mental health, we do have to be quite blunt. There's no shame in saying HIV.
That's the thing. And I think if it's not being mentioned, that is how it feels, that's intentional. Let's not say it. Let's not scare people. It's like, but if you're not saying it, it doesn't mean anything. Just I test.
No. And I think we need to do more of that. Oh God, I had such a depressing email. I'd reached out to a group where we have seen a rise in new infection rates. It's a very stigmatized group. We've not really worked with them before, but kind of reach out and say, oh, this has happened, what can we do to work more closely together? And they literally sent an email back saying, yeah, we've thought about it, no, we don't want to work with you. This is a very sensitive area in our community, so it's a no from us.
Wow.
It's like, oh well, stigma's still strong then, excellent. But campaigns like this kind of help with that, because if we can't reach that community through working in partnership, maybe some people from that community will see this campaign.
But will they know what to test for?
Well, no.
I'm just saying.
No, possibly not. But we'll have planted the seed that they need to test for something. And
they're like, let me have a thing. Although we should mention, so we've got two fantastic billboards. We've got one in Slough and one in Reading. And it just said, when was the last time you tested for HIV? And then we put the link to getting a free test. And I think, yeah, we're just being blunt. Doesn't need more than that, does it?
No, it doesn't. And the billboard in Slough is right by M&S Food. So I'll see it every day.
It's a good location. They're both right on main roads. Yeah. See, I think that's the thing. It's just, we're making that matter of fact. It doesn't have to be like oh my God, but how are we supposed to move forward if even other community groups don't want to work with us?
Well, I thought those days were gone. Well, they're not gone. I think we experience stigma quite a lot and we just take no notice of it because we're so used to it. But I think to have such a blunt kind of shutdown of, no, too sensitive for us. It's like, well, brilliant. Never going to move forward then, are we?
Exactly. Yeah, bananas. But yeah.
Yeah, I will go back with a suitable reply. Just going, oh, well, there is an increase in your community, so sensitive or not.
Yeah, might want to look at that. Yeah.
Yes, just a thought.
It's, yeah.
Yes, very sad. I tried not to take it personally.
Yeah,
but
don't
I did
take
have
it
to, an additional bag of chocolate buttons today, Jess.
An additional one?
Yeah. Little one, not giant family packs.
Okay, you've got to keep on top of the daily quota, haven't you?
You have. Do you know Sean, our boss, can nail a whole family bag of buttons?
What do you mean? He can put them all in his mouth in one go?
Ooh, he can just eat a big bag of buttons in one sitting. Doesn't sit there just ramming them in his mouth, does he?
Oh my God, let's do that. Let's do that with you next week. How many buttons?
Well, both of us. Otherwise, it's not a
I'm on board.
competition.
But it's not a competition, so I'll beat you. I can fit my own fist in my mouth.
Well, yes. I don't think I don't like having...
What were you going to say?
don't like having a full mouth. If you're going to eat something...
Nothing too large, thank you.
We're going to have to edit all of this out. It's disgusting talk. That if you have too many buttons or too much of anything in your mouth, you can't eat it properly. You can't appreciate it properly. That doesn't sound any better.
No, but you like to savour, is what you're saying.
Yes, I'm not just going to ram them in.
Okay. Well, it's just the way you said Sean can nail a whole bag of buttons in a sitting. And it was just like, I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Quick, should we move on?
This is what happens when we don't have proper content. Well, we do have proper content because it's been very informative. This is what happens when I don't take charge of the content.
Yeah, that's the thing. You need to wrangle me.
What?
You need to wrangle me.
I don't know what that means. And I don't want to do it.
You're like, I'll wrangle the conversation. Like a wrangler.
What's a wrangler?
Like a big wrangle. I've said the word wrangle too much. It doesn't mean anything now. Wrangle. You know, like you wrangle a horse.
No.
Right, I'm going to read you the definition of... What about Wrangler jeans?
Oh, I've heard of them. That's a brand name.
Right, okay. Wrangler.
How, Jess, this podcast is listened to in 176 countries where predominantly English won't be their first language is beyond me. I don't know.
Right, hang on. Wrangled a horse. It's come up with tangled. No, I'm just not having that. It's not a frigging word. I'm just not.
I think people will message to say that it is because they always support you.
Right, done it. I win. Right, ready? Spelt with a W. Wrangle.
Yeah.
A wrangler. A wrangler is someone employed to professionally handle animals, especially livestock, but sometimes other types of animals. The word wrangler is derived from the Low German wranglen, meaning to dispute or wrestle. To wrestle. You should wrestle me into like submission. It's like, do you understand?
It's like
wrangle me.
8 out of 10 cats does countdown. You're like Susie.
I knew it was a thing to wrangle. Yeah, it's like basically I'm just wildly out of control and you have to wrangle the conversation back to where it was. God, do you think
weird that I have picked a mascot that I think accurately depicts the content this week?
Do you think anyone's still listening?
No.
Yeah.
Would you?
No, I'd be
if I have to listen to the edit of this, I'm just going to switch off halfway through. I'm going to move on to Parenting Hell, which was also a bit of a car crash sometimes, but they're famous comedians, so they get allowed to get away with it.
Yeah, that's true. I can't, I've said wrangle too much, Sarah.
It's like we're in Miranda. Do you remember that?
We
are a bit like Miranda with the tall one and the little one.
Which one of us is tall?
Me. Well, I'm taller than you.
You are taller than... everyone's taller than me. I'm like a
And you're
goblin.
the little sidekick that she pushes out of the way all the time.
Oh, okay. I see what's happening here. Does she wrangle her sidekick?
No, she does not. If anyone's still interested in National Testing Week, what we've established is it happens in every February. Same overriding campaign across the country, but different organisations promote it in their own way. But it's spiffing. We love it.
That's it. I think that's a good episode, Sarah. We gave our opinions. No one asked for them, but we just forced them on everyone.
I mean, if you are still listening to this, oh God,
Well
you
done.
deserve a medal.
Well done.
Send me your details. I'm going to nominate you for an OBE.
Imagine if people actually send your details. You're going to have to do that now. Oh, I'm going to send you my details.
No,
I'm still here. I'm still listening.
I cannot risk you meeting King Charles and calling him King Charles Spaniel, wearing your eye test sweatshirt or whatever,
with
the patch on that says HIV.
It's like DIY. Like, be amazing. He'd be so impressed with our handiwork, Sarah.
Wouldn't.
Oh.
He's all about promoting that craftsmanship, isn't he? He's really into all of that.
Yeah. Oh, maybe you could make him some of your pottery stuff.
I don't want to discuss that here.
Oh, okay. Sarah's a new potter. We don't have to go into it. She's just finding it slightly challenging, aren't you?
I just think it's upsetting when you've got all of the ideas and no ability to execute them properly.
Oh my God, do you know what's happened to you? You have the ideas, you give me the ideas, and I execute them at work. And now you have no me there to execute them for you. So you're just like, what's happening? This is
That's
terrible.
right. I need to find a new you.
Yeah, you need to
Okay.
find a pottery, Jess.
Yes. Right. Well, that's what I'll be doing this week then. This has been an absolute catastrophe. If we're both still here next week and we've still got jobs, I'll be amazed. Thanks for listening to the HIV podcast. If you enjoyed our podcast, please like, rate and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts.
You can now also follow us on Instagram and TikTok at the HIV Podcast for behind the scenes insights and video. The HIV Podcast is produced by Thames Valley Positive Support.